If it's undercovered, underreported, or a waste of time, you can be sure we'll be heard. Nothing is off limits.
Welcome to Broad Street Radio.
Welcome to Broad Street Radio. I'm Michael Morris with my pal, my running buddy, Johnny Cash, Jonathan Meanick. Johnny, I haven't seen you in a while.
It has been a while.
You look tan and you look relaxed.
I've been living my best life, man.
Well, I'm glad you're here because there's for several reasons. One, I just like to see your smiling face. And two, I love it when shit things happen in America and then we can go to you for the breakdown. Now, you're going to talk to me not as a financial advisor, and you are that, but you're going to talk to me as we're just friends. Fair enough.
Absolutely.
You're not giving advice, but you're going to explain how things work.
Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous, put it that way.
So let's start off with, by the time that you hear this, a lot is changing in the Twitter universe, right? So by the time that this is actually released, big things might have already developed. But let's talk about...
First of all, I believe they call it the Twitterverse. That's what the
interwebs
call it.
If it's not the Marvel universe, I'm not doing it. Or the WWE universe. Outside of that, nothing else is actually factual. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So the reason I want to get into the Twitter thing, we're going to talk about Twitter and Netflix today, but I want to start with Twitter because you were gone. And I'm waiting to hear from you, and you're on vacation with your stupid family.
I know, right?
I'm glad you did that, though. It's good for the kids, for their memories and all that.
They'll forget about it.
It's not good. Of course they will.
They've already forgotten.
When those kids have moved on and they're living in New York and California and they're like super liberal about stuff. Did you see how your ass puckered when I said New York and California?
I promise you, my kids will not be living in New York or California.
I gotta tell you gotta watch the show just for that. I thought Jonathan's eyeballs were gonna fall out of his
United States is still alive. Will thrive. There is hope because people like me won't let my kids grow up to be crazy.
Well, so let's talk about the crazies in California and New York. Elon Musk decides out of nowhere he wants to be the number one. He wants to own the most amount of stock. So he bought 6% of the company.
Yeah, he owned. I don't know if it's still true because you got to understand when they do those K-1 filings and when they disclose things and they do all that stuff. That's history. Right. So by the time that comes out, it's probably changed. But at the point in time, he owned almost 10% of the company.
OK.
And if you own 10% of a company, then you're considered a majority shareholder at that point.
So then they invite him. Twitter invites him to be on the board.
Correct.
Now, this is the interesting part about that board. They all make $200,000 to $300,000 a year just being on that board.
Yeah, it is very lucrative to be a board member.
Right. So I'm sure to Elon, that was like me going, hey, would you like a quarter? Because
factual
being on that board, hey, just sit with us and we'll just hang out and talk about things. That's not his interest at all.
No.
Okay.
He might be an alien, by the way. Like he is a different breed, man.
He does remind me, if you ever seen the movie, I think it's 1984, saw the movie Starman with Jeff Bridges.
Can't say that I've seen that one.
My mom made us watch it almost every single weekend. It was fantastic. But he literally has come down here and he is learning the English language as he goes along, but has no reaction to anything. Like Elon, I feel like they're like, Elon, your whole family's burning in that trailer over there. And he'd be like, is it my trailer? Like he almost like the Terminator. Like he has no reaction to things.
You know, the only time I've seen him have a reaction was after he smoked that joint on Joe Rogan's podcast.
That was the funniest thing. Actually, that's why that picture sticks out because he's kind of making that face. My favorite part is if you look in the corner, there's a monkey skull bong that Joe Rogan smokes out of, which is my favorite. I want that for this show, not just the weed. But when you see that and you're just like, that guy has more listeners than every media company combined. He has more people tune in to see him a day than stream on Disney.
Yeah.
And there's a monkey skull ball. Anyway, I somebody told me I'm a little hung up on the monkey skull ball. I just like to point that out, that in that Elon picture, that's where I first noticed it. And I'm like, this looks so bad for the Tesla stockholders that they're like, that's our guy.
You know what, man?
But
good for him.
To be fair, our president also shit his pants with the Pope. So I don't think images should hold you back from doing anything.
Definitely not. Don't judge a book by its shitty content.
You know what the sad part is? I should clarify that it was Joe Biden. I didn't want somebody thinking it was like Taft. It was recently
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. I bet Jimmy Carter does when he's building those homes that fall apart.
I mean, at 92, I would be too.
I'm doing it now just because I'm lazy. I don't feel like getting out of here. Anyway, you're getting me off
Sorry,
topic.
it's
Whenever you bring up Biden and his
skull bongs,
soiling his Docker. So Twitter, they invite him on the board, but the deal is you can't buy 15% if you join the board. And he goes, no.
I'll piss on that.
So then he goes, I'm going to give you $43 billion and just take all of it.
You know, here's the crazy thing. That amounted to like almost $55 a share.
It was worth 34.
It was worth 34, I think, at the time. So the thing that I find interesting is that if they reject that offer, how do you go back and not get sued for breach of fiduciary responsibility?
Right.
Like, how do you honestly go to your shareholders and be like, yeah, I was looking out for your best interest. We turned down an additional $20 a share profit.
I did not want 60% return on investment.
Right?
You should wait because the company's stock has been the same for a decade. And somebody goes, I want to buy this like it's the electric company. No, it's not for sale and we don't want to make profit. What I think is it was the greatest. I do think that he wants to buy it, but I also think it's one of the greatest publicity stunts ever. Because,
which he's very good at, by the way.
Yes, because now he's got everybody freaking out about Twitter and nobody cares about Twitter.
Right.
To be honest. I mean, if you're on one side of the ledger, you care about Twitter because Elon wants free speech, which I had this argument with not argument, because I'm not going to argue with somebody on Facebook.
Discussion.
But this person who believes they're intellectually superior to me, and may be, but they're a shut-in, and I don't care what you think. So if you're watching this, thank you, Michelle Obama. But what she said to me is, it is a tool that a company can use, and it does not have to. Their platform can be whatever they want. So free speech doesn't enter into it.
I mean, that's technically accurate because it's a company. It's a private entity. It's not a piece of the government.
Okay.
It's not.
Stay there.
Yeah.
Why can somebody not refuse to, when you and your boyfriend want to get a cake, and I mean you, Jonathan Meenick, and your boyfriend Nate, want to get a cake, why can you not refuse them service? That is the same thing, is it not?
100% it is.
And well, why do you get sued for that?
You shouldn't.
But that's my point. People selectively want to use that argument.
100%. You know, the interesting thing at that whole cake thing, I sided with the baker and I thought like I don't care about their beliefs, but if they want to run their business that way, that's entirely their prerogative. And it should be the same for most, if not all, private industries. I can't, throw a blanket statement out and say everything should be that way, but being a libertarian and a capitalist, I believe that's how it should be. And if people don't like it, vote with your pocketbooks, right? So like people that didn't like that whole bakery thing, go to another baker. You don't have to make a big deal about it. Just tell them they're a bunch of assholes and move on. That's what people would do to me,
But okay, so that argument is also made with Twitter. If you don't like Twitter, get off Twitter.
Exactly.
I'm not on Twitter.
Right.
My point is not about me. And so it all will go back to Donald Trump because he got banned from the platform. Yeah. But several other people have. But if a company can decide what is real and what's not, right? So like the Hunter Biden laptop, they took the New York Post, their account down for 3 weeks.
I remember that.
And anybody that posted about it, they took it down and they said, this is propaganda. This is fake. After the election, they let it happen again and said, no, this is probably real. And now it's real.
Right.
I understand that it's a private company, but again, it's still the bakery situation. I don't have to go to that baker if I don't want to, but if you want to, and if everybody is being refused by this place, the bakery has to make money to stay open. Twitter does not.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter is still a publicly traded company, so they have to make money at some point, right? I mean, that's the whole point of being a publicly traded company is to make money for your shareholders.
So let's take that a step further. So then Elon, they don't want him to be able to buy this, so they get BlackRock and Vanguard
State Street, don't forget about them.
Yeah. So this is why you can't be off in Belize and all this shit, because I need to know the answer to this.
The same three companies that are really forcing Disney's hands. because they're the 3 largest shareholders
Right.
of Disney.
And
Same
then,
thing.
Then on top of that, the Saudi prince decides to let people know, hey, we don't want this changed because they are for free speech over there.
Oh yeah, sure they are.
You know what makes
Just ask brother
Khashoggi.
Jamal.
Yeah. Well, I think what's nice about it is if you go to Saudi Arabia and you put something in print they don't like, you never have to get a haircut again.
Nope, never again. You just look like a South Park character.
Yeah. So why is it I would be more upset if I as a Vanguard client, like why are Vanguard evaluated stock at $30 a month ago.
Yep.
Now you're going to put more money into a stock that barely moves. Mm-hmm. It just looks like there's one big club, and we're finding out through brother Elon that he's pushing things to the middle and going, okay, I'm going to call your bluff.
Yeah, I mean, we should have known a long time ago when George Carlin did his set. It's one big club, and we ain't in it.
Right.
Right. I appreciate what Elon's doing because, I'm the guy that likes to see the world burn sometimes.
Yes.
Right. So I think it's fantastic because he is calling them on their bluff. He's showing them for who they are and what they are. I don't know. At some point, I think the people will they'll make their own decisions of whether they want to stay on the platform or not.
But do you think the people that have bought individuals? Because I know that you and I, when we're talking about buying things or whatever, we don't go, let's buy Twitter.
Yeah, that conversation never comes
like
up.
there's you're looking for gold in a pile of shit over here.
Right.
So it's kind of like when you and I talk about buying stuff, it's always something in China or Japan because they're going to own us anyway. I'm just kidding. They already own us.
Yeah.
But we're talking about things that haven't hit yet because that's what you're looking for. You want to get on Google before Google blows up.
Google, yes.
You don't want to buy Google as it's blown up and go, hey, man, it's up 1/10 of a share today.
Yep.
You can buy McDonald's.
It does make it difficult, right? I mean, yes, you're right. You want to find those diamonds in the rough, so to speak. I don't believe Twitter is it, but maybe Elon has. The thing about Elon is that he I think I said before that I think the guy's an alien. Like he's just a different species. He thinks differently. He does things differently. Maybe there's something that he's got in the back of his mind that nobody knows about that he's thinking.
Well, here's what he does want to do. So when there's another reason behind all this. When Biden had Ford and GM and all of them to the White House and is pushing all the electric vehicles and stuff.
Yeah.
Even when he's just having like meetings of people, heads of state to get together, never invited Elon. Yeah. So Elon's looking at it like, you're touting that Ford has put out like 13 cars that actually run past the year, and I'm the one that created all this. Elon Musk open sourced all of his battery, the car, everything else. So China is able to get ahead of everybody else in the electric car world because they're using his materials. Yeah. He created it, he tested it, and he gave it away. He wants to give away.
He's the modern day Volvo.
Yes. I'm glad you said Volvo. I thought you said vulva.
That's all you think
That's the
about.
gift that keeps on giving.
Well, I was drawing one on my way here. So
It's because that's all you think about.
Yeah, it is. That and Twitter. So he wants to do the same with the Twitter algorithm. He wants to give that away. So
I would be interested in learning that.
Well, here's why I'm interested in learning that. Who is out there that uses algorithms to track people and their data and all that other stuff? Don't say Facebook and the CIA. That's exactly who it is. Facebook and the CIA and the FBI.
You forgot about the other alphabet soup, NSA.
Oh, I thought you meant LGBTQ.
Them too.
LGBTQ, ABCD, EFG, yeah.
If you say something wrong to them, they'll track you down.
Oh, no shit.
Some of them can run really fast, like gazelles with makeup. So, again, that's the whole... I think this is literally Elon's had enough, and he's looking at like, my bank's bigger than your bank.
Yes.
And I can play a game you can't because the government can't step in and go, you can't own that thing that we have nothing to do with.
Right.
So you're waiting on these outside sources to...
They could if he were Mark Zuckerberg, because then, you have
How does Jeff Bezos own the Washington Post? How does Trudeau... Trudeau bought 1,500 media companies...
No kidding. I didn't hear about that.
So here's the deal. You can run it, but you have to have what's called a good faith agreement, meaning you will only say the things that the government tells you are appropriate. So you can't be, I don't want to say Fox News. I'm talking about like those Fox affiliates like in Arizona or something. It's not Fox News like everybody, like Saturday Night Live makes fun of. It is, you're kind of like an independent, but you're getting all your information funneled from one source.
You're independently objective,
yes,
but you're being told what to say.
Correct. So how is that different than what they're saying? Well, Putin has state-run media. So does China. Yeah. So does the Ukraine.
United States.
Ukraine is doing that now.
Of course
Zelensky shut down every media outlet, and there's one media outlet.
Yes.
That's not totalitarianism.
No, God, no.
It's not a dictatorship.
No, absolutely not. It's all for the betterment of the people that they want to see get better, right? You know what I mean? Like
it's mainly him.
It's yes.
Once the word got out that, how do we describe this on YouTube and Spotify? Not gonna trouble. Let's just say the people in the 40s that left Germany, they didn't really go away. They just moved to another neighborhood. It's a way to get you to say, hey, isn't that who they're using for their military today? Oh, we got to turn that off. We can't have that on here.
Can't talk about that.
More Mariah Carey.
The first rule of Mariah Carey is you don't talk about Mariah Carey.
Unless you're Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
So let's move on from Twitter because the more important pressing thing, I think, is Netflix took a huge nosedive.
Oh, they're getting it.
But on purpose. Would you agree?
I mean, I think on purpose is probably a little strong, but
play the game, Johnny.
They could have, they very well could have been intentional with their decisions. The interesting thing about them is that, I sold some Netflix yesterday to a client.
I sold my password.
Now I've got to go. I've got to call that client and be like, hey, I got great news.
I'm so sorry. I thought when you told me that earlier, I'm like, oh, that's good for that person. You're probably like, you're faked.
No. I'm going to call them up and I'm going to be really excited. Like, hey, I got great news. Remember how we bought it yesterday? It's on sale today. Let's buy more. Let's
get as much of that as we can. How much is it? It's not that much.
Don't worry about it. So the interesting thing is that their subscribers came in light. And then their guidance came out and said, hey, we lost 200,000 subscribers. Doesn't sound like a lot, not a big issue, but we're going to lose another 2 million. That's a bigger number.
But
right?
But explain why.
But I think they're preparing because I think the planned piece was that they were going to start locking down on the sharing of accounts and passwords, which so far they've been the only company really that's okay with it, and really they encouraged it. Like, hey, share it. It
actually was on their Facebook and all their social media was love is sharing a password.
Right.
And then when they did this crackdown, somebody reposted what they posted.
Yeah.
I think in terms of, remember when it's $9.99 a month?
It's like, you remember how the US government back in the 80s, I think it was Uncle Ronnie was running the show, and
where they were running drugs through Los Angeles through the gangs.
Ricky Freeways started introducing crack.
But they got upset because the people in the poor neighborhoods figured out how to make the crack.
Exactly.
And then it was better and it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And so then we had to knock down all their homes.
Yep.
Is that what you're referring to?
That's exactly what I was referring to. So Netflix did the same thing, only they weren't selling crack. They were getting people addicted to Netflix.
Yeah.
So now they're going to crack down on passwords. People are going to cough it up because they're not going to just, it's only, what I think they're going to do is they're going to come in with a cheaper version, but it's ad supported.
Yeah.
And so people are going to look at it and be like, oh, well, I can spare $10 a month. All they got to do is just watch some ads. And now Netflix not only doubles their subscriber from there on out because all the illegally subscribed people will now have to pay for it. Now they also have ad revenue coming in from, Microsoft, Amazon,
which is the biggest bullshit ever because I got Hulu. I didn't have cable for like 2 years when the pandemic hit. I just didn't want the bill and all that. I mean, I was literally paying because I had the MLB ticket, NBA, NFL, and all that stuff because I'm not leaving my house. I'm just watching sports. I'm 46 years old. I hope everybody else, as I always say on the show, perishes and I don't find out for 3 days.
Except for when Jimmy Dore's in town. You leave your house.
I met Jimmy Dore, by the way. Fucking phenomenal. I protect Jimmy Dore, my family, and whoever does Nate's hair. Yeah. So, where's I going with that? I got Jimmy Dore in my head now.
I'm sorry, I ruined it.
We're talking about Netflix. Oh, so I would get. I'm not going to tell you how I would watch the OSU or Alabama games because I don't want to give it up because someone's going to figure this out and they're going to stop that. but the games were not going to be in the place I could get them. So I had to get cable for that day. So it was Ohio State, Michigan, and Ohio State got their ass kicked in.
You know what? That's why I had YouTube TV. My mom asked me the other day, like, why did you get YouTube TV? Because I'm like you. I didn't have cable for like 5 or 6 years probably. And then I think it was because Ohio State, Michigan was on
same
Fox.
day. Yes, but see, I couldn't get Fox the way I was doing it.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'll sign up for Hulu because it's free for 7 days.
It was the college championship playoff. That's why I got YouTube TV.
So I'm not gonna miss the Alabama game. Like that's just, I'm not screwing around. So I'll pay the $50, whatever. Well, I kept it for a few months, and I realized I don't watch any of this garbage.
Right.
So it's not college football season, so I got rid of it. But here's what was odd about this. When you were watching a show, you could be watching a movie and ads would be in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But I'm paying $10 or whatever. No, actually, to get live TV, I was paying $82 a month.
Exactly.
So then I canceled it. Here's what's funny. When you go to cancel it, it's reasons why you cancel. And number 2 on the list is ads on movies. And I'm like, yep, click that. And it's like, can you elaborate? And I wrote, stop putting fucking ads on movies. And then boom, I never heard back. But
now Netflix is going to do that.
Right. And again, it's whoring you out to whore you out. And I'm a person that my job, my life is about advertising, and I hate ads.
Well, it's all manipulative, man. It's all
propaganda. Listen, it's like I saw an ad yesterday. It's a print ad, and it's men wearing like ladies' underwear, and it says men have periods too.
What?
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. And it's every dude that you know, when you're driving by and you're like, that guy probably rides a bus everywhere and he's not going anywhere. He's in that ad. And it's like the background characters, the NPCs that you'd see, and you'd be like, nobody dresses like that. They're all in this ad. I don't even know what it was selling. But the point being that agenda, I don't want to say agenda, that horse shit that's out there, that it's because
you got to trust the science, Michael, except for when you don't want to trust the science.
I am going to go. I didn't tell you because you were gone. I entered a swim meet against the 7-year-olds. I'm not a great swimmer, but I'm 6'2", and I'm going to whip their
shit
ass.
out of these kids.
But I'm not talking about that agenda. I just mean the agenda of if someone will buy it, content, if they will buy that content, if they'll spend money, because you have a captive audience.
Yeah.
So when those advertisers, I always tell people there's one pool of money everybody has, right? So let's say you had $1 million budget or a $10 budget. You don't buy $10 worth of TV and then $10 worth of Netflix. It's still the same $10.
Right.
As it comes off television, as television is getting less relevant and it goes to streaming, that's who's going to have the real power.
Sure.
Because you could call and complain to your TV or radio station. You call Netflix and you're calling India.
Right.
You know?
Or you could just pay a premium and not have the commercials.
Yeah.
Oh, listen to this rich guy over here. What am I, the poor guy? You're going on vacations. He's getting rid of the commercials. What I was saying, Nathaniel, is that you can't get rid of the commercials on the Hulu part.
Yes, you can. You get the higher tier. No ads.
Yeah.
Who let you on this show?
Ad supported for the poors, right?
I was already paying $82. I'm not paying more than that for something.
Dude, that's like half price of a normal cable bill. Didn't you know that? You were getting a deal. Supported by ads.
Well, let me just say this before we leave because we're running out of time. Here's why I think the Netflix thing, losing 200,000 subscribers and then a possible 2 million after that. If
I think they're setting you up.
Oh, absolutely.
They're setting you up for a rebound. Look, the other thing that I'll just quickly elaborate on is that CEOs know how to convey information in a manner that will be an improvement for their stock price, right? Because at the end of the day, that's how they're judged. They're judged off of, did you add value and did you create wealth for your shareholders? That's what a CEO of a publicly traded company's job is to do, for better or worse. So I think the CEO of Netflix, I think he's a smart person, and I think he's a good CEO.
Still Reed
Yes, okay. Still Reed Hastings. So I think he's putting it all out on the table, saying, "Hey, let's take our medicine. This is going to happen." And then I think 2 years from now, they're not even talking about this because the stock price is tripled from here or whatever. I mean, I don't know how much it'll go up, but
no, I think it's smart.
Up.
I'm just saying you have those different tiers, but the other part of it is that those people without Netflix are going to go, oh, there's no other Netflix.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
only one. It's like the people that want to get rid of Disney. You have your screaming 5-year-old say they can't watch, Snow White. You can buy the DVD if you want, or you can just pop it on for $7 a month.
100%, man.
And that's going to do it. But if you take one thing from the show, just remember the CIA pushed crack into Los Angeles in the 80s. And that's been Broad Street Radio. We'll talk to you next week.
Just Google Ricky Freeway.